All right, today we're diving into a really specific worldview, one that's definitely gaining some traction. It's this idea that our reality, it's all just a carefully constructed stage. We've distilled a conversation between two online personalities, Funky Prepper and RKX, to really map out their thinking, why they believe the system is basically an illusion, and what they're doing to get ready for the day it all comes crashing down. Okay, so this line right here, it's actually from the intro music of the video we're looking at. And we're starting with it because honestly, it just nails the entire vibe we're about to unpack. This core belief that our reality is just a big performance, and the only real goal is to break free from it. So, the whole foundation of this worldview, right? It all comes down to one big idea. Our society is not what it seems. Not even close. The way they describe it is like a meticulously managed puppet show, you know? And the strings are being pulled by these forces that most of us never even realize are there. And according to them, this isn't something that just happened by accident. No, they believe everything from what you see on the news to all the political drama is just part of a grand script. And what's the purpose of this script? Well, it's pretty simple. To manage and control all of us, to keep everyone distracted and playing along inside a system that's already been designed for us. So how is this control even possible? Well, one of the speakers has a term for it: social engineering. The idea here is that powerful groups, like intelligence agencies, are using media platforms to basically shape the entire public conversation. They get to decide what topics get hot and when, and in doing that, they're pretty much controlling the mood and focus of the whole country. And they get really specific about the tools used for this control. You've got the mainstream media and social media algorithms, which they see as ways to aim public anger wherever they want it to go. Then there's the education system, which they view as a kind of indoctrination machine. And now they see new things like central bank digital currencies as the next big step in locking all that control down. And this idea of a controlled system, it doesn't just stop at the big picture stuff. Oh no, it goes all the way down to you and me. From their perspective, online privacy is a total fantasy. They're convinced that every single search, every click, every post you make is being watched, recorded, and put into a detailed file on you somewhere. Okay, so if the world really is a stage, you have to ask, right? What happens when one of the actors decides to go off script? Well, according to these guys, the system doesn't just ignore you. It pushes back, and it pushes back hard, with overwhelming force, to make an example out of anyone who steps out of line. And to back this up, they share two pretty dramatic personal stories. I mean, listen to this. One of them describes a dawn raid, 14 officers in the UK, all for a social media post that was over a year old. The other one, he talks about being arrested by a full-on SWAT team in the US for his online activity. For them, these aren't just random events. They see it as concrete proof of an organized effort to shut them up. And here's the crucial part. They don't see these as just, normal law enforcement. Absolutely not. To them, that massive show of force, the whole disruption to their lives, it's all part of a playbook. It's a deliberate intimidation tactic, designed to send a crystal clear message to anyone else you might be watching. So when you have this deep-seated belief that the system is not only controlled, but actively hostile towards you, well, it leads to a pretty stark conclusion. And for them, it's that modern society is just incredibly fragile. It's not a matter of if it will collapse, but when. And to make their point about this fragility, they point to things that are actually happening. One of them mentions a recent winter storm in the US, where, according to him, 1 million people lost power. Now, for them, that's not just a bad storm. It's a preview, a glimpse of how the system just can't handle a real crisis. So, what's the logical response to all this? In their minds, it's one word: prepping. And that means actively getting ready for a world where all the things we take for granted, electricity, food in the stores, police, hospitals, are just gone. Now, when they say prepping, don't just picture a pantry full of canned beans. It goes way, way beyond that. For them, it's a complete reorientation of your entire life. It's about making a conscious move away from relying on the system for anything and moving toward total self-sufficiency. Their whole strategy for this really breaks down into 4 main pillars. First up is location. You got to get away from the big population centers. After that, it's all about what you can do, what you have, and how you can handle things like first aid when you can't just call 911. And this focus on skills, Man, it really shows you the depth of their thinking. We're talking about mastering old-school non-electric abilities. Can you make a fire when it's pouring rain? Can you find clean water? Can you find your way without GPS? These are the skills they believe will be the real currency when everything else is gone. Okay, so beyond all the practical survival skills, there's a much deeper philosophy going on here. It's not just about, surviving the end of the world as we know it. It's about actively building a new one, but this time on your own terms. And a huge part of this philosophy is just completely rejecting the old ways of doing things, like protesting. In their view, protests aren't a tool for real change. They're just a pressure release valve that the system actually created. It gives people a way to vent, makes them feel like they've done something, but at the end of the day, nothing actually changes. Which leads them to a really powerful conclusion. The goal isn't to try and fix or save the system we have now. They see it as way too corrupt, too far gone. No, the real mission is to just disengage from it entirely and focus on creating your own small, tough, resilient world. So instead of burning all your energy fighting a system you're convinced is rigged from the start, their whole philosophy is about a radical shift in focus. It's about deliberately turning away from all the noise of society and pouring that energy into the things you can actually control, yourself and the people right there with you. When you boil it all down, their philosophy is pretty clear. The most important prep you can do is to build a super strong inner circle of people you trust, develop real practical skills, and just focus on being the best, most capable version of yourself you can be. It's all about redirecting your energy from the big, wide world to your own small one. And really, this whole philosophy, it's a complete answer to what happens when you lose all faith in the institutions of society. I mean, when you truly believe the game is rigged, what do? Well, from their perspective, the only way to win is to stop playing their game and go create your own. And all of this kind of leaves us with one final thought. We've just mapped out one very specific, pretty radical answer to the world's problems, but it taps into a much bigger feeling of uncertainty that a lot of people have right now. It really makes you ask, in a world that feels so unpredictable, what does it actually mean to be prepared?